Happy, the ball itself has its own energy, or life force, if you will. Its natural environment is in the hole. So why don't you send him home? His bags are packed. He's got his airplane tickets. Bring him to the airport.
Comedian and actor Kevin Nealon is known, of course, for his roles in Happy Gilmore, Weeds.
Where there's fire, people like to smoke. Where there's fire, people like to talk.
And, of course, Saturday Night Live.
I'm Hans.
And I'm Franz.
And we want to pump you up.
But now Nealon is working on a digital series, taking his famous friends hiking on LA trails to talk about their lives. Kevin joined us with more. Kevin, it is wonderful to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jerry Seinfeld tosses his pals into cars and at least buys them coffee. You throw
That's
your
right.
friends out on trails with rattlesnakes. How did this all begin?
That's right. Well, it's interesting. It was very organic the way it began. I asked my friend Matthew Modine if he wanted to go on a hike with me, and he said, sure.
Any movies you turned down that you regret?
Back to the Future.
You turned down Back to the Future?
Yes.
You idiot.
We're hiking up this very steep incline. We're hiking for about an hour, and we're getting near the top, and we're both winded, and we're talking, and it was a little hard to understand because we're kind of, so when he came to Hollywood, and I thought this would be a funny kind of interview video. So I did that with us, and I posted it on Twitter, and people seemed to like it. And I said, well, let me do this every week with a different friend. But it went into a real interview, and just a fun, silly interview.
Tell me about some of your famous friends and moments you remember.
Well, I remember hiking with Caitlyn Jenner once, and my favorite question was, Caitlyn, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would you change?
Well, my nose, which is, no, I'm just kidding.
Is there anything left to change?
Is there nothing left to change? I'm done.
I hiked with Julian Lennon about a month ago, and I asked him who his favorite Beatle was. So I've hiked with a lot of fun people. I've done over 100 hikes, and I'm exhausted. But I love doing it. I love doing it. And I have Paul Rudd for our season opener on October 27th.
In season 4, you're taking us to Ireland. How did that happen?
That was real spontaneous. I was going to do a charity show in Dublin, and I thought, why don't I just bring my camera and stuff with me in case I run into somebody? So sure enough, Paul Reiser was in the next town over filming a movie, and I called him, and he said, yeah, let's do it.
I have to talk about your painting. You are such an accomplished artist, and you have a new book coming out called I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame. Tell us about your craft and how during the pandemic you leaned into that art and made a real commitment to making it a book.
Right. I've been drawing all my life, doodling mostly, and never really kind of focusing on the true finish, you know, the end product. And that was always just quick sketches. People seem to like it. I draw sketches of people on stage or whatever. And they say, oh, can I have this? Can I have this? And then when I was on airplanes, I would sketch people, you know, sitting next to me, usually with their mouth open, sleeping. Okay, you know, I'd never show it to them. It'd always be like on a napkin or on a barf bag, preferably an empty barf bag. And also it was a great escape for me because I developed claustrophobia when I was on SNL. And living in New York is not the best place for claustrophobia. You're going through tunnels to get out. I found that once I take out a sketch pad and I start sketching, the rest of the world disappears from me. It is the best escape. I mean, I'll miss meals. I'll miss phone calls, appointments.
And you tend to exaggerate some feature of your subject. How have your friends and subjects reacted?
Well, I've drawn a lot of caricatures of my friends and also people I don't know that well. And for a long time, nobody saw these pictures. Nobody commented on them. I had them on my Instagram. And then once Jimmy Kimmel showed a picture of Rami Malek that I painted.
Since I mentioned Saturday Night Live, Kevin Nealon, you know, the great comedian who was the whole Weekend Update anchor.
Of course I know.
Do you see the picture he drew of you? He painted?
No.
He was out there, kind of surprised him with that. And he looked at it and he said, Kevin Nealon is no longer my friend. You know, there's some people like Brad Paisley loved it. Jim Carrey loved his, Jeff Daniels. I mean, it's flattering, I think, to people to have you spend that much time. And believe me, I spent a lot of time in each one. I mean, like weeks sometimes, hours a day.
one of the reasons that you have time to work on your art is because you travel a lot, because you're still doing stand-up. You know, I remember the late Bob Saget. He was still doing stand-up. You don't have to clearly do it, but you do. What is it that you get from it?
You don't know who's telling the truth. If you want the truth, ask a child, and then punish them. Because you don't get ahead in this world by being honest. That's not what you do.
Stand-up is a commitment I made a long time ago. It was my passion, and it is still my passion. Even during SNL or Weeds, during the hiatus or during off weeks, I would go out to the clubs and do it. Sometimes after rehearsals, I'd run down to the Comedy Cellar or the Comic Strip Live, all those places. And so that was really my first passion, was doing stand-up comedy. That's all I ever wanted to do, and the acting came secondary. And so I never stopped doing stand-up. When we had the pandemic, that was torture, because that was the longest I'd ever gone without doing stand-up.
You know, Kevin, this has been a big year of transition for Saturday Night Live. You were one of the anchors of Weekend Update.
Scientists are now saying that the Great Chicago Flood of 1992 would not have been a problem had it only happened during the Great Chicago Fire of 1871.
With so many of the long-term cast members departing, would you give them any advice as they leave that cocoon, that bubble, and go out there and try and do something new?
Well, first of all, wash your hands and wear a mask. No, I would say just continue to go after your passion and take some of those offers that you get seriously. Because time goes by after a while, and there's new casts and new generations, and you have to kind of pursue what you still are interested in, I think, and stay open to everything.
Kevin Nealon, open to everything. We've got stand-up, we've got artwork, we've got a new book. Oh, well, we have that series where we take our friends hiking. Thank you so much, Kevin.
That's right. Thank you.